He weighed 9 pounds. The baby he was watching weighed 12, and he was the only alarm in that room that was still working. Pepper was a 4-year-old mixed terrier, 9 pounds, black and gray, with the particular wiry self-possession of small dogs who have decided they are the size they need to be. To do. He had been with the UN family since before Lily arrived. He had adjusted to the baby the way he adjusted to most things, by immediately positioning himself close to whatever was most important in the room. What no one anticipated was that the most important thing in the room would be the crib rail. The first night, Pepper climbed onto the white crib rail and sat there watching Lily. Clara, Lily's mother, assumed it was curiosity. A small dog finding a new elevated position. She moved him back to the dog bed. He returned in 12 minutes. She moved him again. He returned while she was still in the hallway. She let it go that night. She watched the monitor on her phone, and Lily was fine. She told her husband David in the morning. He smiled. He's keeping watch. By night 5, the interpretation had shifted. Pepper's vigil was every night without exception, from approximately 9:30, shortly after Lily was put down, until some point in the early morning hours. He did not sleep up there. To do. He sat, alert, upright, his small body balanced on the rail with the careful precision of an animal that had assigned itself a position, and was not going to relinquish it for comfort. Clara moved him every night. He returned every night. The pediatrician at Lily's 8-week appointment said small animals often developed proximity behaviors around infants, and that as long as there was no direct contact with the baby, it was largely harmless. This was good enough reassurance. This was the wrong reassurance. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Night 13. Clara decided to leave him. She was tired of the cycle. She checked on Lily at midnight. Fine, sleeping, the oxygen monitor on her left ankle showing green. She went to bed. Pepper was on the crib rail. She left him there. At 4:17 in the morning, Pepper began vocalizing, not barking, a sustained, escalating, repeated cry from inside the nursery. Clara was in the doorway in less than 90 seconds. Pepper was still on the rail, body oriented downward toward Lily, his small face angled at the baby's face, vocalizing continuously. Lily was quiet, the wrong quiet, eyes open but unfocused. The oxygen monitor on her ankle was dark. The clip had come loose at some point during the night, slipping off without triggering any alarm. The monitor had been reading nothing for an estimated 2 hours. To do. Clara picked up Lily. Her skin was cool. Her breathing was shallow in a way Clara could hear now that she was listening for it, a sound like something smaller than it should be. David called 911. At the hospital, Dr. Valentina Sosa, pediatric pulmonology, to do, confirmed that Lily had been experiencing episodic oxygen desaturation consistent with undiagnosed infant apnea, a pattern in which breathing pauses during sleep caused brief but repeated oxygen drops. The monitor failure had created a gap of coverage during what Dr. Sousa described as a significant event. To do. She looked at both parents with the particular directness of a physician who has chosen their words carefully. Your daughter's oxygen saturation at admission was below the level at which we consider an infant's neurological development to be adequately protected. She paused. Do. The monitor should not have failed. But it did. And something else in that room did not fail. To do. Has your dog ever done something you couldn't explain until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Small dogs have been documented as spontaneous alert animals in households with infants experiencing respiratory events. Their proximity to the breathing zone of a crib-level infant, to do, combined with their sensitivity to changes in respiratory rate and the chemical compounds associated with oxygen stress, positions them as inadvertent sentinels. Do. Pepper had been seated at the exact height of Lily's breathing zone for 13 consecutive nights. He had not been curious. He had not been seeking elevation. He had been reading the air where it mattered and staying where the reading was clearest. Every guardian deserves to be recognized. even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Lily came home with a new monitor, one that included a secondary ankle backup and an audible room-level alarm. They rearranged the nursery. Pepper is no longer on the crib rail. He sleeps on a small bed beside the crib. Clara placed it there on the first night home. She did not move it to the hallway. She did not move it across the room. She moved it as close to the breathing zone as a 9-pound dog's sleeping position could practically reach. Some nights Clara looks in through the door and sees Pepper lying on his bed with his face turned toward the crib, eyes open, the steady small sentinel in the dark room. She does not move him anymore. She has learned the difference between a dog who wants something and a dog who is doing something. The next story is about a Labrador who refused to leave the side of a sleeping newborn, and the carbon monoxide reading the crew found 40 minutes after the family evacuated.